Hello my beautiful people, welcome to your weekly general tarot scope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So this weekly general tarot scope is a general overview of the energies, trends and themes that we're likely to experience over the course of the week. Been doing these a long time now, and these were actually community shaped. So the reason the weekly general came about, if you don't know, a little bit of Radiant Reality history for you, is basically we started to notice that there were patterns and sequences over the course of the weekly videos that I put out each week that really started to come through. So I started to do like a key to the week video to explore some of those general sort of big broad stroke energies, trends and themes, and the weekly general was born. And thus, as they say, history is the rest is history. But yeah, this very much came about because of all of you wonderful people. So I just want to say a massive thank you from my heart to yours for always checking in on these, and I know a lot of you love them. Some of you even love them more than the weekly videos. So there's a little bit of everything for everyone here in Radiant Reality. With that said, the weekly general is intuition led. So every week I will go into my intuition and I will ask what the message is that we need to know for the week ahead. It's like an overarching energy, trend or theme. Sometimes it will play out as a movie, like literally in my head, like on the screen of my mind, let's say. Sometimes it will be a word, a feeling, an impression. This week's intuitive message was your phoenix song or cry, right? So whether this is the triumphant, agonizing scream of being reborn, or whether this is the moment that you sing that song that has you truly in your own power and own energy. I really feel like in this week, for all of us, in some way, shape or form, we are being reborn. So this is a moment where whatever or who you were prior to this week is done, right? That powerful, very powerful full moon in the sign of Aquarius last week, which it's funny because obviously I'm talking about this in retrospect, but the day that I'm filming this is actually the day of the full moon in Aquarius. So it's really interesting because I can kind of feel this, and when I went into my intuition, I literally saw this big massive phoenix kind of just burst into life and burst into flames, and it was amazing. It was beautiful, and I thought, okay, well, this could kind of be for any moment, for any day. So I came out of it and I went back into my intuition. Same thing, like, no, this is the message, Raph. And when the universe, God, Allah, Buddha, Chi, whatever you want to call it, has a message for you, and sometimes they get really persistent, they will give you that message. And so that's what I had play out in my mind. And the song for me was beautiful. It was both haunting and lilting, but it was also triumphant at the same time, which is why I put your phoenix song or your phoenix cry, whichever one this is. Life is not going to be the same from here on in. Mark my words for that. With that said, I would like to bless all of my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So doing things slightly different this week, we're going to go with the Human Design Oracle deck by none other than Denise Matthew. You guys have been watching me long enough now. You know who she is. She's a wonderful lady that is a human design expert, and she created an oracle deck, and I absolutely love them. So this week's destiny card, should I say, is going to be one of those cards. And this week we get, okay, so it's the Gate 64 and confusion, right? Now this doesn't mean that we're suddenly all going to be confused and our sight's going to be blocked and stuff. If you look at the card, you can see there that over the third eye, that person actually has a mandala. And what this card actually talks about is trusting your intuition and allowing yourself to feel that moment where maybe you're not sure of what's going on, where maybe you think, or maybe you're doubting your intuition, but actually when you focus and center yourself, you come back into it. Now, as a destiny card and overarching energy coupled with the Phoenix song, Sometimes it can be really confusing to go through a rebirth of self, right? Sometimes when you are coming into who you are going to be from here on in, when you are turning into that glorious, triumphant being that is emerging from who you were, there's something really powerful about that, but it can be a confusing time. It's like when a butterfly emerges out of the chrysalis, right? They know what to do because it's in their DNA, but that doesn't mean that the experience of it at that moment in time isn't disorientating. But what happens? You allow your body, you allow your mind, you allow your intuition to pull you forward. Sometimes there's a moment where you have to let the biology take over, all right, whatever that means to you. And this isn't about all of the, you know, I choose not to get into it. When I say let your biology take over, this wonderful complex meat suit that you're wearing, it knows things, right? And the mind, for all the mind chatter and all of the programming that we've had through the news and through the media and conditioning and society and all of that, when we chuck all of that out, when we allow this to do what it was made for, when we allow this to truly do what it's supposed to do, and when we really tap into that third eye intuition to start to understand where we are going, the sense of direction that you can gain from that is immense, all right? So if you're feeling a little bit miffed or a little bit confused, or you're kind of like, oh, okay, you know, this is disorientating because I know I'm in that transition. I know I'm changing into something or someone else that I'm going to be, and I'm not sure what that fully looks like yet. Trust the process. Allow your body to lead the way. So for the direction energy, how do we best tap into this? How do we best utilize this? We have the Seven of Swords, all right? So first and foremost, chuck out the lies, whether this is lies that you tell yourself, whether it's lies that somebody else has been telling you that you've been allowing them to get away with. This is the time to call BS, right? If it's there and you're thinking, you know what, I know this is a lie, or I know this person's holding out on me, this is the time to call it. It's not a time to shrink away from all of this stuff. Change requires discomfort. For the next card out, we have the Four of Cups. So this is about really allowing yourself to be surprised, allowing yourself to be pleasantly surprised, and also allowing yourself to acknowledge where your feelings are telling you something that you maybe don't want to acknowledge at this moment in time. And then finally, we have the King, or the Knight, should I say, of Pentacles. So what this really says to me is, and there's something about all of these cards that I haven't spoken about here, right? And that is, all three of these cards have a slowness and a relative stillness to them. Even the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is about things that happen beneath the surface or behind the scenes. The Four of Cups is about things that are shaping up, that we are in an emotional stagnancy because of or around. And with the Knight of Pentacles, which is a very slow moving energy, this basically says that the transition that you're in, it's not just going to be, oh yeah, this week and it's done. It's going to be a process that unfolds. And this week you're really being invited to see what and who has pulled the wool over your eyes because you allowed it to be so. And the thing is, I say that and a lot of you are probably thinking, wow, that's a really harsh message, Raf. Let me explain. Sometimes we need that cocoon of safety. Sometimes we need that story. Sometimes we need that thing that allows us to be in a certain space. When that space, that thing, that chrysalis, that sort of, pod gets uncomfortable, the growth is done. And now we have to begin the really tough process of cracking through that shell, breaking through the illusion. This is why the Tower card is so hard, because it cracks the illusion and it basically says to you, now that you know this, now that you are aware of what the truth actually is, you cannot go back to how it was before. The knowledge that is coming in this week is going to settle deeply into your bones. And the beauty of this is, while you may not be able to go back, the future really is bright and it's very much ahead of you. That Knight of Pentacles basically says you can and you will reach your goal. It just may not necessarily happen in the time that you're expanded, or the time that your expansion, the time that you would hope it takes to expand into. Whew. That was a mouthful. All right, so for our insight cards, what are the overarching energies, trends or themes that are coming in that we may not be aware of as yet? And this week we get The Four of Wands, right? So just on the other side of this discomfort are reasons to celebrate. Just on the other side of what you thought you were is the person that you're going to become. And it's not just going to be you celebrating for yourself. It's going to be many people that are celebrating with you and for you. On top of that, we've got the Ten of Cups, right? The happy home and hearth, but coupled with the Four of Wands, this is reasons to celebrate. And I feel like these are going to be reasons to celebrate more on the microcosm this week rather than on the wider world stage. Then we've got the Fool card. So for those of you that are hoping to conceive, especially those of you that have had problems conceiving, having children, for those of you that have had, you know, I'm not a doctor, I can't give you medical advice. I would never advise you to override, to allow a reading of any kind by anyone to override what your medical professional says. But if you've been looking for a breakthrough in healing and you've had opinion after opinion after opinion and nobody seems to be able to find anything, your deliverance is at hand. That moment where it finally clicks, where you finally get some answers, where it just makes sense, is about to step in. And a big part of this is going to be by trusting the biology, all right? Now, that being said, when it comes to the insight cards, the Fool card is new things, new places, people, and energies. And coupled with the Ten of Cups, this is spontaneous blessings. This is coupled with the Four of Wands. This is spontaneous blessings that come into the home. This is spontaneous events, get-togethers, gatherings that happen that make you truly smile. There are reasons to be happy this week. There are reasons for you to look beyond how things feel in the moment, because you are being rebirthed in some way. And when you are, everything and everyone that you know that is in your vicinity that is truly for you is going to smile for you, with you, is going to laugh with you, and is going to celebrate with you. There are massive blessings just over the personal hill that we're facing at this moment in time. And I've got to be honest, on the wider world stage, because that's what these are, sometimes it's microcosm level, sometimes it's macrocosm level. And what I feel like is happening on the wider world stage, this is going to be a moment where it's like, we all know we've just going to call a spade a spade. We all know we've been gaslit by the people at the top for quite a while at this point. I'm not going to say, you know, either which way with everything that's happened in the world. That's not my point. My point is, we know that whatever it is that's happened has been hijacked for certain agendas and presentations. And at this point, we're all very aware that the narratives just don't make sense anymore. And now that we understand this, we are choosing something better. And just on the other side of finding out some potentially really shocking, grim, grimy stuff that's going to be quite difficult to swallow for a lot of people that aren't necessarily awake, on the other side of it, look at this, right? So let this stuff pass, because once it does, that discomfort that you feel, I think, is the stuff where you really are choosing in a way to unplug, whatever that might mean to you. With that said, I wish you all an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.